Alright, welcome back. Second week in a row, we're breaking down the trailer. We got the mid-season trailer this week. We're halfway through. If you haven't yet, please take a quick second, subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate it, and let's get started. The teaser opens with Lily in an attic looking through an old photo album featuring the original Pennywise the Dancing Clown from the traveling circus that visited Derry in 1908, the same year as the Kitchener Ironworks explosion, where Pennywise and his daughter appeared, which is also shown in the intro. One photo shows Pennywise in human form with a wig and white face piece resembling the actor before it adopted the persona. In the attic, we also see the wig worn by the clown girl from episode 3. In one of the earlier trailers, we see a black-haired head appearing behind Lily. Now I think this is most likely the head of housekeeping that Lily has been talking to and confiding in. We still don't know her name.
Who are you?
And that's what makes me think that it could be Mrs. Kirsch, and that's whose attic she's in. And she was the young Pennywise girl from the last episode. Anyway, I think she's the one who startles Lily, causing her to spin around. Next, we see Pennywise in the sewers, who I assume is speaking to Lily, and he says,
"You convinced everyone to come and see me because you're such a good friend."
Then we see Lily riding her bike home, screaming and crying, likely fleeing from the sewers, or maybe scared from whatever she saw in the attic. Hank is shown being transported to Shawshank while an angry crowd watches. We see Charlotte in the background as well as a man in a red shirt who runs up and attempts to shoot Hank, yelling,
"Burn in hell, you son of a bitch!"
I'm assuming this is probably the husband of the lady that he slept with the night the kids went missing. Either that or he's the father of one of the missing children, Maddie, Teddy, Phil, or Susie. I don't think he gets shot. I assume the gun jams or he misses, because there's no way Hank's going out like that this soon. However, I am really hoping that he does go to Shawshank for a little bit, and we might get a cameo of Andy and Red from Shawshank Redemption, another one of Stephen King's books that was adopted into a movie. It takes place in the same timeline. Andy was locked up from 1948 to 1966. This is right smack dab in the middle of it. Not expecting it, but it sure would make me giggle. A native elder comments that Derry's residents are becoming increasingly aggressive, which is typical near the end of Pennywise's cycles, and is similar to the Bradley Gang moment of madness that the townspeople said they experienced when they all shot the Bradley Gang to death in the middle of the street. We see Pennywise possessing a police officer who smiles out the window during the attempted shooting. Charlotte is ducking behind a sawhorse, horrified, possibly by seeing the cop smiling at her like that, or maybe an innocent bystander had gotten shot if the gun did in fact go off. Marge is now aligned with the other kids and says they must stick together if they're gonna face it. We see the military and Daniel breaking into 29 Neobolt Street. I don't see that ending well. I don't know what kind of vehicle this is. I'm guessing an ice cream truck. We're gonna call it an ice cream truck. An ice cream truck speeds away with Charlotte, Mike, and Rose inside. We see Ronnie, Marge, and Lily run through dense mist as kids float overhead. Halloran says that thing forced its way into my head. Rose confronts Shot, insisting that it can't be controlled, but he appears determined to continue, echoing the settlers' doomed arrogance from episode 4.
You gonna learn today.
Marge gasps, bodies floating in the sewers. The Legion of White Decency, which is Maine's version of the KKK, is shown burning down the building Halloran and the other airmen were renovating, the black spot from the novel where 66 people died, and the ones lucky enough to survive the fire were then killed by Pennywise outside. Even Richie appears to be inside with Hank next to him, meaning that the Legion of White Decency could have been coming after Hank. Charlotte screams at Leroy for putting them in a cage with the monster, likely referring to the Black Spot fire, which would also imply that they were there and both survived. At the airbase, a jeep speeds into the restricted hangar carrying a heavy wooden crate, possibly one of the sacred stone shards. We see the military smelting something while someone else films. Now, I've heard a few theories suggesting this smelter could have came from the Kitchener Ironworks explosion, but it's also just a tool used to melt metal, and they could be trying to melt the stones, which I don't think would work out for them. Shaw tells Leroy that fear is what makes people listen, and Leroy calls him insane. They appear to be on the observation deck overlooking the restricted hangar area, meaning this could be right after Shaw tells him what his true intentions are with the weapon they're looking for. The kids stand in the standpipe, simultaneous looking towards something unexpected. They don't appear terrified, so it might not be Pennywise. It could just be Marge or something. Or it could also be Pennywise taunting them as something they didn't expect right away. Because right after that, Richie insists it wants them to turn against one another. Then Ronnie runs off, possibly upset about Hank, while Lily looks scared. Then we get a shot of what I think is the attic from the beginning again, and we see someone poke their head out, which could be Mr. Kirsch, Bob Gray, Pennywise, any or all of the above. And if so, that would explain why Lily ran out scared and was crying on her bike. Halloran appears to be in the medical area, probably after the Black Spot fire, or maybe it's just his barracks. But he's armed and he's pointing his gun at somebody, probably Shaw, and says,
Yep, I'm mine all fucked up.
While we see quick flashes with what looks like a bathtub in the background, possibly teasing more of that bathroom scene we saw a little bit of this week. A close-up of Pennywise follows, with him saying,
I've always wondered how you taste.
Now the bottom half of his face is completely red, and it's possible as blood, but its evenness and the straight line makes me think that it's some kind of like native war paint, similar to what we saw Daniel's ancestors wearing in his vision. Pennywise advances towards Lily through a dense mist as she crawls away backwards. Then we get to the quick cuts, and we see Derry being consumed by a heavy mist, possibly a reference to Stephen King's Mist, where the military opens a portal and accidentally unleashes monsters that attack people in the mist. In an earlier trailer, it even shows a tentacle come out of the mist, grab a person, and pull them back into it, making this whole thing surprisingly plausible. It probably isn't. It's probably crazy, and I'm probably reaching way too far, but you never know.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
We see a mother and child getting swallowed by the fog, as well as Marge standing with her back to Ronnie and Lily. Then we get a shot of Ronnie running with Marge and Lily, the sacred dagger glowing in her hand, which usually indicates that it is close by, I think. We see Halloran getting accosted by what could be his burned friends that died in the black spot fire. The guy in the top right looks like his face is burned. Then Daniel looks through binoculars and Charlotte's violently fighting somebody off in her house. Then we see a shot of scared Lily in what appears to be the sewers, and then the patty cake scream as kids pound on the locked gym door, which we've also seen part of in one of the earlier trailers. We see Patty and the other girls get taken by the deadlights and they all start to float up. Next we see Pennywise strutting confidently through the burning black spot and extends a hand to Dick and Ronnie, urging them to take it, before finishing on a terrifying bloody-mouthed close-up of Pennywise. And that shot just looks crazy. Boom! That's everything. What do you think? What did I miss? What did I get right? What did I get wrong? I definitely went out on a few limbs there. Am I crazy for some of these theories? Or does some of it actually make sense? Let me know in the comments. If you haven't yet, please take a quick second, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate it. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.